I have had a long-standing interest in Dietrich von Hildebrand, especially on this topic of marriage and family. I wrote my dissertation on Dietrich von Hildebrand and the ends of marriage, and this fall I'll be teaching a class looking at von Hildebrand and John Paul II's writings on marriage and family. Yes, they have, and actually my own introduction to Dietrich von Hildebrand was in a similar kind of setting. Damien Federica, when I was an undergraduate student, hosted at his house a discussion of transformation in Christ, where we would slowly go through the text, and the informal setting changes the dynamics of the discourse, where it isn't a kind of formal lecture and raise certain questions related to a lecture, but more of a community that's pursuing the truth of something. So there is definitely something unique about that informal setting, and it also allowed for growth for us as a community of learners. Maybe I can speak more broadly about my experience of similar von Hildebrand events. This is my third von Hildebrand conference. I went to one here about 7 years ago, one in Rome a few years ago, and something I noticed in those earlier conferences that has continued here is a really genuine intellectual humility, where I remember I was a graduate student and I'm talking to Dr. Crosby and Joseph Seifert, and they really want to know what I have to say. Although clearly they are the scholars who know what they're talking about, there's this intellectual humility. They want to know the truth. It's the common pursuit of truth. And you don't have the same kind of pretensions that you see in other kinds of conferences, where so-and-so is the full professor who is the established scholar and doesn't really have time for others, but a real genuine intellectual humility and pursuit of truth. I really appreciated in particular that we've read texts from both John Paul II and von Hildebrand, and the comparison allows for a critical edge related to both authors and a kind of fruitful dialogue between the two as well. I've enjoyed all three of our faculty. Dr. Crosby is the crutch that everyone turns to when questions start to get difficult, and he has that personal relationship with von Hildebrand and can really speak with authority about what von Hildebrand says. And then Maria is able to engage culture in a really unique way and has a very good way of interacting with the crowd and engaging culture, and Jules has a really excellent sense of humor that kind of you begin to appreciate the more and more you encounter it. But I especially liked I think Jules' presentations, the strength really came out in his presentation on the complementarity of sexes, and then this last discussion related to procreation were very excellent presentations. I think so. I mean, we've discussed a lot of material, and I'm going to be processing it, especially as I get ready for this new class. A couple questions that have really emerged for me particularly here is the relationship between the will and the affections as it applies to love, the boundaries of love. When can we say that conjugal love is not present, and when is it present? So off the top of my head, these are questions that have emerged that will stay with me and inform my future research.